My family don't see me more, that's growing up. And now they're calling me C4, I'm blowing up. So if we sitting on seesaws, we going up. Some people get going, but I love it when the going's tough. Too young to know enough, too old to play the part. Too cool for showing up, too dumb to say what's smart. So I'm a substitute, waiting for the game to start. But I ain't trying to get played like change your heart. Chuck Woolery, I host and rip the stage apart. And hopefully you're willing to admit that I have made my mark. And may I park and find me another ride. I'm letting Florence tell you how I feel inside.
All right. Welcome to the Just Go With It podcast. My guest today is Mr. Josh McMasters.
How is everyone?
He is a longtime friend and classmate. And, so we're going to be talking a little bit about, I think you wanted to talk about fatherhood.
Yeah, about the only thing I'm qualified to talk about, I think.
This is a rant, this is off topic, but yesterday, I don't know why, I literally just thought of this off the top of my head. I went into Best Buy, and there was a guy, I don't know if this annoys you, but it annoys me.
Yeah.
There was a guy, and he was checking me out, and he...
Like he worked there checking you out?
Yeah, he worked there. He was checking me out. And he kept calling me boss.
Oh.
Like before we got on the podcast or whatever, I just checked a guy out, and I called him man. And I thought about, like man is okay, I feel like.
I call people man.
All right, man, we'll see you later. But he called me boss, like,
it's almost like sport and tiger. And
8 times while I was checking out. Like, I was like, all right, I think this is what I need. And he was like, all right, boss, it's over here. And I was like, all right, one time, I got it. That makes sense. And then he...
Was he younger or older than you?
He was younger than me.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't guess it does, but...
like, if he was older than you, it's like a definite, like, dad move. Like, talking about...
Yeah,
how they call sports.
Yeah, sport or...
Being younger than you, it's...
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel.
He felt like he was like...
I know that's not...
Like a sir.
I don't even know why that's a thing in my head, but like he was checking me out, and he was like, all right, boss, it'll be this. I was like, all right. And
did you introduce yourself?
No, I never.
Seth.
Nope, I never did. And like, some people would walk away from that not thinking anything, but I just couldn't get over how many times he did it. It was in the span of, 2 minutes, you know. He called me boss at least 5 times, and I just wonder how many people he called that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, what does he call girls?
That's what I was just thinking in my head. I don't know if he calls everybody boss.
All right, lady.
All
right, ma'am.
He may have a female boss.
He
may call women boss.
He may call women boss. But anyways, on to our topic that we were thinking about. And like when you mentioned fatherhood, I thought, man, that's a really good topic to talk about, because it's something that we're obviously both going through. And and I'm for those of you who are listening, which is going to be probably 7 people, let's just be real.
The people that already know us.
The people that already know us. I'm having a girl, and like I got to thinking about having a girl. Like I always...
Yeah, how different do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, like when I found out I was having Nash, having a boy, when I first found that out, like I wasn't worried at all.
Yeah.
And then when I found out I was having a girl, I wasn't really that worried. But then I started thinking about how savage we were.
I know. It terrifies me about having a girl.
So you don't know what you're going to have?
No, we won't know yet. We've
still
got a little ways. It'll be like into November, I think, around Thanksgiving we found out what we're having.
Okay.
So.
Does it matter to you what you have?
It doesn't, as long as,
Yeah, I mean...
Emily does not want a girl.
Really?
Because she's got a sister, she knows how she was, and she does not want to have to raise her or her sister.
Really?
So.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I just, especially with...
But we would take a healthy baby. It's not like we're going to return a girl.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're not going to be like, well, you got to send this one out.
Nope, I don't want it.
Yeah, like, I got to thinking about that, like I was thinking about it last night, like, man, I'm having a girl, and there's Snapchat out there, and there's all kinds of stuff.
But maybe by the time that
but there'll be
she's
something
old
else.
enough, there'll be something else.
It's just gonna get worse, dude.
Maybe it might be better.
It might be better. Yeah, but
it'll probably be worse.
But I got to think about how, like, I was growing up, and like knowing how I was growing up, and then like seeing my son. Like, I think I can handle the problems he may run into. Like, I'll know what to say. But like thinking about like having a daughter, frick, dude.
Yeah, I know if I have a little girl, I'll be useless as far as punishment or anything like that. Like with Marshall, I can get on to him if I need to. I spank him when he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing.
Give him a little spat.
Doesn't bother me. When he gets older, I'll be able to do that. But with a little girl, I just don't know.
It'll crumble.
If she was like, please no, I'll be like, I don't. Okay, go see your mom. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, dude. I'm genuinely. I'm not worried, but I'm thinking like, dang, dude. There's gonna be a whole nother.
A weird thing is, especially with the way today, culture is changing today. It doesn't have to be different. You could raise them exactly the same.
Yeah.
And
what do you mean by that, you think?
I just mean, like what we just talked about, how not being able to punish or get on to a little girl like you do a boy. It doesn't. That's something that's in the past. That doesn't have to change. You can do them exactly the same. And that's something that if we have a girl, I'll have to get in my head. It does not have to be different. I have to treat them the same.
The same, yeah. No, I got that.
And so
that makes sense.
It'll definitely be different though.
Nash is going through that stage right now where like everything, and you can probably maybe even attest this more since Marshall's a little older.
Age.
But he's doing like everything I do. Is Marshall starting to mimic you a little bit? Pretty
well. He mimics just whoever he's around. It does not necessarily me, but he likes to mimic. Or if he sees you doing something, he's got to try to help. He has to help.
Yeah.
When we were moving over to our new house, and I was carrying 2 bags of books, and they were heavy. It was big, like TJ Maxx bags. They were probably weighing 60 pounds a piece. 60. I had them pulled up, and and he like ran to me and like grabbed hold of it and wanted to help, but he just did nothing but slow me down. So instead of being able to like rush into the house with these bags of books, I had to like slowly hobble because he was holding on to one of them, but he had to help carry that big bag of books.
Yeah, I'm gonna hate when they get out of that stage, because right now, anything like I asked Nash to do and like I'm doing. So if I say, "All right, son, let's pick up our toys."
Oh yeah, he's right in it.
He's in it, man. He's in it, and I just think of like they get like I know that stage is gonna go like he's like, I ain't freaking picking up my freaking toys, like I know that's coming.
Yeah, you gotta be thankful for it right now because it won't last forever.
Yeah. But like another thing I was thinking about when you're talking about this is like how appreciative I am of like my raising and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much they actually did sacrifice. Like I don't think you realize it until
you're much older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't just thought, my parents had jobs and worked and
they kept you alive.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Like I see Nash and like I don't want him to worry about anything.
Right.
And then like, but it's a full-time like thing. Like, I mean, like you not only have a job, but you got to keep this other human alive.
A human that is, without help is totally
helpless.
Yeah.
Alive, which is, I can't imagine doing that. Like,
he might be able to survive until he can't reach the bottom row of the pantry anymore. Where
then he's done.
Then once that's gone, he wouldn't be able to make it anymore.
We've got child locks on the snack, drawer. So Nash would be done. He'd be done, man. Once he might could squeeze up to the popsicles in the refrigerator, but after that,
then he'd not be able to get them open.
You can only do colored liquids for so long. It's over.
Yeah, it's not going to sustain him forever.
Yeah, I just I look back with a lot more appreciation, I guess, for like how I was raised and like
I'm really looking forward to, and also anxious about like the 8 to 12-year-old range. That's going to be, because I remember one of the things that when I was that age and a little and older, we'd go out to my grandparents lived, and we had they had 10 acres, lived out by themselves. There was no other houses.
I remember going out there.
Yeah, within a half mile, and we had pretty much free range to run and play in them ditches, and we'd be gone. Me and my brother would be gone all day. We'd get up.
Yeah, that makes me
eat
nervous.
Breakfast and stuff with my grandma, and then she'd be doing her work, and she'd send us go outside and play, and we may not come back until after lunch or closer to dark, and we'd be gone all day long, walking up down ditches and everything else. And I did that. I'm sure he'd be capable of doing that, but the thought of him doing that is already nervous, and I'm still years away.
Yeah, like I remember riding, I'd go out at like 9 a.m. and go over at my buddy's, I'd go over at Garrett's house, and I remember riding my bike, and like I wouldn't, I'd come back for lunch or whatever and get something to eat, but like me and you and whoever, like we would ride bikes and do whatever like all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just think about I do think about Nash doing that, and I think, gosh.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous.
It's weird. It's wild to think about. Yeah, within the next 10 years, they'll be doing that stuff that they don't have to have us right there with them all the time, and it's a little
unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, do you think?
Well, maybe I'll be like numb to it by then.
Yeah, because that's 10 years.
I got 10 years to get pumped up for it.
Yeah. Do you think that society's changing to where people? You think it's getting safer? We're getting safer or less safe, or it's basically the same as it's always been?
It's probably about the same as it's always been.
Too.
I think the bad is like right there where you can see it a lot more than you used to could. But I
because
feel like
of social media and
social media, and everybody's got a camera, and everybody's got
which may make it better because there's more.
In a way, be able to if something does happen,
they're not just 1970s where kid goes missing on a bike and then that's it.
And so everybody's got. The bad stuff is more viewable, but I don't think it's
there's more
dangerous
sort of fake
than it has been.
Fake outrage, if that makes sense. There's more. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I would probably say that it seems people seem more sensitive to stuff than they used to be, but that may be because they didn't know stuff was happening back then because it wasn't on camera. Maybe
true.
If everybody knew what was going on back then, it would have been more outraged back then too. I don't know.
But yeah, I just think about like Nash being out on his own, and like, I think about stuff like when when I was upset in high school, or when I was upset, which was very rare. I mean, I thought we had a good high school experience. I mean, compared to some people,
compared to others, yeah.
But like I think about the times I was upset, and then I didn't know how my dad or my mom felt about it, but now I can see how they might have felt. Like if Marshall was upset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he would feel like he'd want to go out and hurt somebody. Like if somebody, if a kid hurt him, And I just think about like how that it's an unnerving feeling. I feel like it is, to have, to have your kid out there. Do you have reservations about a public school, or are you just gonna?
No, I don't have him.
You're just gonna send him
public
out.
School.
Just send him out.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, he's already in preschool.
He's already in a public preschool.
So he's already getting that early.
There's like 14 2-year-olds in one room.
Is there anything you're more nervous about being a parent now than you were?
I mean.
Anything
like work compared to like before Marshall and now before the new one?
Yeah, what's the main like difference you see as like being now that you're a parent versus like 5 years ago when you were just you and Emily?
Well, I mean it's not about just us anymore.
Right.
When we were
self-sacrifice.
When we were just us married, and we could go off
on a whim
on the weekends, just be, hey, you want to go do this, and we could just go, and you can't do that anymore. I mean, we're still our both of our parents are still very much, hey, if you want to go somewhere, just let us know. We'll come watch them.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
but
I can't imagine.
It's not quite the same as it was before, and we don't want to be away for, I don't want to run off without him for a whole weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I My mom's like, can he come stay the weekend with us? I'm like, he can stay one night.
Yeah. I think it's good to go through that phase. Like, I feel like too. There's another thing I was thinking about. Like, I feel like some people should have to take a test before they can have a kid.
I don't know. I was so nervous before Marshall. I didn't.
But being nervous is a good thing.
Yeah,
so that means you know what's ahead of you. Some people just shatting out kids.
That's true.
It's just like, I see some people, like they're on their third or fourth kid, and I'm like, God, 2 is the limit. I'm done. 2, like if we have another one, like I'll have to sack up and do it. But man, it's gonna be 3. Man.
Yeah, 3. Like I'm definitely not like.
Are you gonna have more than 2?
Nervous. We've talked about having more than
multiple?
2. Yeah.
But you're ready. You're prepared. You're mentally. You're getting prepared.
We'll make that decision as the time comes. Because we don't want to we're not gonna have kids like 6 months apart or 12 months apart or like that.
Right.
So we're gonna have to after this next one comes, and then we'll wait a year or so, and then we'll decide if we want to have another one or call it good.
One of my friends, who you might know, I don't know if you know.
I mean, if all of our kids are like Marshall, we may have a bunch of them. If they all come out like him.
He's easy, dude.
Yeah,
Nash is like,
he's awesome.
Gosh, dude, he's everywhere.
But if they, I don't know if this one is not near as easy.
A Spitfire.
Then it may be the last one. I don't know. We'll see.
I know a guy who I won't say his name, but like their kids are literally like a year apart. So she wasn't even like, hypothetically, she wasn't supposed to even have
like 9
sex.
Months apart. You got like a 6-week window. You're not supposed to.
And he was just laying waste.
Not wait until that 6 weeks is like day of. 6 weeks is up. And then get pregnant.
Get in there, baby.
Yeah. You got 2 kids, not twins in the same grade.
Yeah. What is the main, like, you see how everything's going, everything, what's the main thing you worry about? Is there something you worry about, like when you see?
I worry, my biggest fear is the technology, like you talked about with Snapchat, stuff like that, how that's going to be in the future, and how we're going to
adapt
and teach him how he should use the internet and social media, and how to be safe. Safe where not to run off with somebody, and safe with not get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Because at first, when they're like 12, 14 to 16, you don't want them to run off, and then when they get older than that, you're like, don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, you got 17. You're good. Okay, once you hit 18,
you got to change.
Better lock it up. No, while you were saying that, it made me think of like, I've already decided. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but like when Nash is growing up, or both of my kids, like I don't want to hide anything from them. Like I want to be as honest with them I can as about everything.
Yeah.
Like whatever they have, whatever the questions they have, whether it be about sex or religion or whatever it is. Like I don't want to give them this false impression to hide them from anything.
Yeah, I feel
confident in
the same way. It's going to depend on some stuff when they're really little, and
you're not
Santa Claus, and we're like, no, are you kidding me? But as they get older and they ask about sex, they ask about what would you do? What did you do when you were this age?
That's what
when did you get in trouble? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I tell myself I'm gonna be honest with them. We'll see how it goes. But
I feel like some parent, maybe it's just our idea about our parents being a certain way until you get older, and then you realize that, hey, they probably did the same stuff we did.
Yeah.
But like, I don't even want them to have to go through that stage.
I don't want him to believe that we never made any mistakes, and he's got to be held to this.
Because I feel like they get a false impression about who they're.
I'd rather him learn from my mistakes than have to make them himself.
Yeah.
Sometimes they got to make their own mistakes. So.
Right. I feel like my parents were pretty honest with me about stuff like that. And my dad, I know he didn't tell me everything, but, he kind of,
I didn't ask. A lot of stuff I didn't want to know.
Right, yeah. I didn't want to, I guess I could say that too.
You know what I mean?
Know.
You know, there's some stuff.
Yeah, you don't even want to ask.
Yeah, some stuff you just don't want to bring up. But other stuff, if it was, I'm trying to think if there was a time I did like, hey, I got a question. Most of the time it was, they brought it up if it was stuff, you know, like the sex talk and the stuff like that.
Did you ever have the sex conversation?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I felt like I was too young.
Yeah.
Looking back at it.
Like 4?
No, yeah. Yeah. First day back from kindergarten. Told mom I had a girlfriend. Had given me a sex talk. No.
Speaking of kindergarten, I remember walking. I think I've told you this before, but it's a little off topic, but it's all right. I remember walking in kindergarten. Did you ever pee your pants in kindergarten? I'm pretty sure I did.
Maybe I don't remember.
I know I did. But I remember. I won't say her last name, but her name was. Her first name was Jessica, and. You know, in kindergarten, you get those little toilets that are basically on the ground.
Oh, yeah, you're like...
You know, if you wanted to take it, like if you wanted to pee in them standing up, you're going to... I don't care how good of a shot you are. It's 9 chances out of 10 you can
especially now.
Get a little like on the bowl.
Shooting into a cup. From
Yeah. But I remember walking in, and, you know, in kindergarten, where we went to school, there was one bathroom, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you had a lock on it. And I remember I had to go one day. I was like, man, I got to go. And I opened the door, and I'll be dang if Jessica wasn't just chilling on the pot. And I remember her screaming, and then I remember me shutting it going, oh, God, I caught her pooping. You know? Like I was like, I remember telling my buddies, I was like, she's taking a dump. But looking back, she could have been peeing.
You weren't peeing, yeah.
But, I mean, like, back then, I didn't know.
Didn't know that
girls did that sitting down.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, she was...
Like, I sit to poop, so she must...
Yeah, she's pooping. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, yeah, I remember. I was telling my friends, I was like, man, she's pooping. Did
you know girls did that?
Yeah, I didn't... I don't know.
That's funny. I didn't... No bathroom jokes, but I do remember, like, getting in trouble. I got in trouble a lot in elementary school. I got in trouble in high school too, but I got in trouble.
You got in trouble. I got in trouble in high school.
I got in trouble in elementary school quite a bit. I knocked both of Sam's teeth out, front 2 teeth in kindergarten.
You did?
At 2 different occasions. Like the first time, we're playing around in the classroom.
Her teeth are not small now.
We're having class.
I mean, she got a good set of teeth,
yeah,
but like
they were baby teeth then.
Yeah,
so it's not like I knocked out.
What'd you do?
Well, so the first time we were having recess inside, we were playing around. I had the house set, you know, I had the dishes and everything. I flung one of the dishes,
oh God,
like a frisbee, and it hit her right
smack
in the mouth and knocked one of the front teeth out.
Jesus.
And then later on that year, after nap time, we're putting all our, you know, the mats with the little cubby holes over next to the thing.
The mats that I never slept on.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, I was on the far side of the room. Everybody got up, and there was like a crowd of kids trying to put their mats up. I just like stuck the mat up in front of my face, just like charged into the pile of people, knocked her forward and hit her mouth on the cabinet and knocked the other.
How is she still friends with you?
We were friends all through school. I don't know if she remembers all that, but
so you knocked one out one time and then
the other out later on.
God, dude.
So
I'd ask to switch classrooms. I'm like, man, you gotta get me away from this Josh kid. I can't even brush my teeth at night.
Her parents probably hated me. Like some bullies. Really she got some bully at school knocking her teeth out. It was totally accidental both times.
Yeah, I remember.
But she was like the it girl in elementary school.
She was.
I mean, she was all through high school, but she was like in elementary. She was it.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I dated. I was in kindergarten. I remember going out with Tina. That's who I went out with.
Yeah.
And I guess because maybe we're the same height, because I was really small, and she was small too. But I walked her in Campus Queen, which is like a little pageant that our school had.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that was good memories. I remember you talk about you getting in trouble. Every day when my mom would pick me up, because did you ride the bus or did you not ride the bus?
I rode the bus in, like, kindergarten, like, until, like, 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah. And then your parents just took you to?
Well, then I stayed after school with my grandma worked in
the school,
I do remember
so
I stayed
that.
after
Yeah.
I stayed with her.
But I remember every day in 1st grade, I had Miss Gunter, who was...
I didn't have her.
A dick. Every day, this is no joke, every day when my mom would pick me up, she would have me tell my mom what I did wrong. That at the end of the day. Yeah. That's like, I feel like psychologically that's pretty still in my mind, in the deep recesses of my mind.
That's like not like sending a note home. It's
No.
like she's standing next to you.
Over me.
Tell her what you did.
Standing over me, telling me, having me tell my mom what I did.
What else did you do?
I remember one day, I always got in trouble in Miss Gunner's class. I don't know if it's something about me. Maybe it was my hair. I had a bowl cut. Something about me. But we would sit there, and at the end of the day, she would give a sucker to the person who was the most quiet. And
did you ever get a sucker?
No, but one day I was like, I ain't saying a word all day. Like, I'm going straight up monk mode all day. And I did. And I was like, man, I got to get this suck.
That's what we called it back then. Sucks.
I got to get this suck. And Nathan Smallman, who was literally like, he was like a monk.
Yeah, he didn't
talk He didn't talk at all.
He finally opened up in high school.
In high school, but elementary, I mean,
he was a very quiet
we
kid.
thought he was deaf mute. First 5 years, like, this kid. We didn't really think that, but like, I kind of thought, man.
He was very shy in elementary.
Yeah, he was shy, and he was like, I remember staring at him that day, and I was like, man, I'm gonna beat you today, brother. I don't really remember that, but like in my mind, like that's how it played out. Like
you knew that was the kid that you had.
That was the kid I had to be more quiet than, and like even when I was writing with my pencil, I didn't even bring it up off the.
Didn't erase too hard.
Yeah, I didn't even erase too hard. But like, I was quiet all day, and I'll be dang if he didn't get the sucker again. He got it like all the time, weekly. He got suckers, and I never got a sucker. And I remember telling my mom, and. She got me a sucker. She was like, "Oh, well, I'll get you. We'll get you a sucker, baby." And I can just see myself telling Nasa like that. We'll get you 20 suckers.
Yeah. How many suckers you want?
We'll
send you to school with suckers. And you can get
pass them out.
Class of suckers
except Nathan. Except Nathan. You already got one yesterday, Nathan. Remember that? But man, you got in trouble for You got a paddling. Turning the clock.
Yeah, that was in high school. I tried to get us to go to lunch early. And got caught.
How do you get a paddling for that? Like I look back on that now and think that's abuse.
I thought it was pretty crazy too.
You got a paddling.
So he was like, go to the principal. All right, I went to the principal.
You thought, wow, this is gonna be.
And then he talked to me, and then like the next day he was like, called me to the office. You getting a paddle? I was like, for what?
Bend over.
That was yesterday.
Yeah. You got a paddling the next day?
Yeah, it wasn't even the same day.
Oh my god!
And I got and the same thing happened in. I got a paddling for leaving my book in the.
That's right,
in the
because
gym. I
they made a big deal about that one day.
I let Ozzy borrow one of my books, and he left it in the gym.
And it wasn't even your fault.
But it had my name in there, and so it was my book.
That. God, yeah, I remember because they made an announcement. People had been leaving their books.
No books.
It's so random that they would even think that that's even a big deal. Like people, I guess, were leaving their books. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But
as far as I know,
they were leaving their books at lunchtime in the gym. Horrible sin.
Terrible.
It's a terrible sin.
Terrible. Them books were attacking people.
Causing everybody to fall. Yeah. I know Miss Gunner got injured. and Nathan, he couldn't talk anymore.
Always had a sucker in his mouth anyway. So
he was good. But yeah, I didn't know you got a paddling for that.
That was the 2 paddlings I got in high school.
That isn't like I got a legit paddling for doing something wrong.
Yeah, those were what I got paddlings for.
But when you got the paddling for what was it? The
clock.
Yeah, with the clock. Okay, when you got paddling for the clock, was it by the teacher who? Was it by him?
No, it was the principal.
It was by the principal.
Both times it was the principal.
Okay.
But it was 2 different principals.
One was Coach Scott.
That was the book.
That was
the
book.
Clock was Lane.
Okay.
Coach Scott's was much worse.
Was it? Yeah, because he had the massive
big
forearms.
Big old forearms, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it makes you wonder.
But I'd still rather take a paddling every day instead of like detention or something.
Yeah, because then you just sort of sit in shame and you can't really do anything. Paddling's like,
over with a little bit.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But do they even do paddlings anymore?
I don't know. I kind of hope so. I'm fine with it.
You're cool with?
Yeah.
Really?
Even then,
I don't know if I'm about.
Even then,
that
when
life.
I got a paddling for something that wasn't a big deal, it's not like it hurt me.
Right.
So.
I got a. I don't know if I'm about Nash getting and paddling.
Yeah.
From a grown man, other than me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can feel that. I don't know how I feel about that.
I may like.
I may feel differently about
maybe
it.
in elementary school, maybe not. But once it's in high school,
if
it gets paddling, it gets paddling.
I see that.
I never got a paddle in
elementary
elementary
school. People are super
school.
anti-paddle now, I
Yeah.
think. I told him, I remember when me and Amasa first started dating, like, I remember telling her that I got paddling. She was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, totally foreign to her. Like, you got
They don't
spanked
do that up north.
at school? Yeah. Bare butt. No. Yeah, you don't have to pull down your pants up there? Like, what?
Too cold up there.
No, I got a paddling. I got 2 paddlings.
Yeah, what was yours for?
Yeah, so I'll go. I'll tell you that. The first one I know you remember. It was in basketball practice. Me and Billy Vestal.
Oh yeah,
You remember that?
Yeah.
So
I don't guess I realized you got a paddling for that.
I did.
I remember the.
Yeah. So
what happened,
we were at the old gym, which doesn't even exist anymore. It makes me a little sad that they tore that down. But we were practicing, and he was guarding me super close, like he was playing touch butt with me.
Yeah, he was like in your shorts.
He was in my shorts, and I was like, man, stop fouling me, bro. Stop fouling. And he was we were already sort of fighting for the same position, so I think that was probably part of it. And then he fouled me again. I think I didn't initiate it. He pushed me, and then like I got in his face, and then we were like right up against the wall, and then he pushed my head against the wall, and then I swung at him, and then we went on the ground, and it got broke up.
Yeah.
But then I think I got 3 licks from that, I think it was Coach Scott. But yeah, and then this is what makes me mad, and my dad got pissed about this too. So Derek McMasters and I think Keith got in a fight.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a scrap. That was like the same year.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to get a paddling. And it was all because...
It's because of the star basketball
Exactly. Because Derek got into the fight, and my dad was hot.
He lost that fight too, so he'd already had his butt whooped.
Did he lose that fight?
Oh yeah. Remember that he had Keith from behind, and Keith like reached up and grabbed him and flipped him over his back and threw him on the ground.
I vaguely remember that. I remember Willie and Bo getting in a fight. That was so quick.
God, that was great. I don't think either one of them got in trouble either.
No. Well, that was so quick. Wonder what happened. Like, so
I don't think any coaches even.
It's so random too. Here's what happened: the ball went out of bounds, and Willie went to grab it, and I think Bo was setting out.
Bo caught it.
He caught it
over Willie's head to somebody else.
Yeah, and then Willie was like, "What the frick, man?" And then Bo got up,
got in his face
and got co-cocked, and that was it.
Quick.
And then and then Bo like extended his hand, like
shook hands, like,
"All right, man."
Yeah, that's it.
That was so random.
Totally, like, just accepted what happened and moved on.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel like that. I wish that's the way fights would be.
Yeah.
If you fight,
that's
get
it.
up, shake hands, and go on about
I feel
your
like
day.
if I was a teacher, I probably wouldn't send them to the office. Like I would probably, I feel like I would handle it myself. Like if I was a teacher and I saw it happen, I like, okay, you guys shake hands. Let's end this. Like
I know my
some
dad
teachers are
talked
just
about
petty though.
Their ag teacher back when he was in school.
Just give him gloves.
He kept boxing gloves.
Oh my
and when
God,
kids got in a fight in his classroom, they just went behind and they would. But in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, you could do that.
That could happen, yeah. Now it'd be like, you get fired if you were the teacher.
Yeah.
Like, you go,
Just
what?
having boxing gloves in your room.
Yeah.
And he also would, like, make the paddle. When he was going to paddle them,
Jesus.
They would go out there and he would...
Made it a steel.
They had to watch him make the paddle, and he would whoop them with it.
My dad made a paddle. I think he only used it on me like once, though. But, yeah, I remember that paddle.
That's all it needed. You knew it was
all
there.
he needed.
Yeah, you knew it was there.
It was thick. It was a thick paddle.
Nails sticking out.
It had barbed wire wrapped around the. But the other time, I only got 2 Palins. You got 2 Palins.
Mm-hmm.
The other time I got a Palin was literally the only time I ever did this. I don't know if you remember this, but they wrote it was Drew.
Oh, yeah.
You remember now. Drew, Matt Harmon, and did you ever chime in on that?
No, I was not in that class.
On that. Drew, Matt Harmon, myself, and I think someone else. I think it might have been just us 3. They wrote poems about this one girl, and she was cool with it.
Well, they were writing poems about several people in the class.
Yeah, and they just happened to come across the hoe.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
This
particular
poem
person
was not very nice.
Yeah, this particular person was not the what would you say? She was not Miss Press.
No.
She wasn't like a...
No, she wasn't a terrible person.
She wasn't a terrible person. She just liked
not
men.
Innocent.
She wasn't innocent. Wasn't saintly. Wasn't a nun. And they had wrote poems about her and showed her. And she had a laugh about it or whatever. But I guess she might have been on that month or on that day. Maybe on her, you know what? I don't know. But I chimed in. I threw a line in. I threw a line in the poem. And I'll be dang if she didn't start crying right there in class, dude.
So it was your line that did it.
It might have been. I don't know. They had some pretty dark lines. It was a dark poem.
I remember the poem.
Edgar Allan Poe didn't have nothing. It was
not a nice poem.
No, it was not a nice poem.
I did not blame her for being upset.
Yeah, and then, of course, we're trying to be like, it was just joking.
Yeah.
God, don't send us to the office. And, so the teacher took it up, sent us to the office, and they had to figure out by the handwriting who did which line, I think, because we didn't have our names beside it. But, I got a Palin. I told my mom, I was like, I got a Palin at school, and this is what I did. I always felt like it was easier just to I want my son to do that, too. I want him, if he gets Palin, just tell me what. I don't want to find out from somebody else.
Right.
And I knew once I told my parents that they'd be cool with it, they didn't want to find out. But I found out later that Drew, he got a Palin, and he was like the good kid.
Yeah.
He was always the good kid.
That's the only time I ever remember him getting in trouble.
Only time I ever remember him getting in trouble. And I don't think, I think he found out, his mom found out from my mom, because me and Drew were really, really tight in high school. And then my mom was like, talking to Drew's mom, like, did you hear about them getting a Palin? And she was like, no. What?
It was crazy. She worked at the school.
Yeah, he was like, even that on the DL, man. It's like I don't know how she didn't know, and he must have been paying people off or something. But
nobody speak to my mother.
Yeah. He didn't walk out of the shower with he made sure that butt was covered for the next week. I don't know how he kept that. That was good stuff. I don't know how.
Those are all things that I'll be worried about when my kid gets there. It's like, don't be mean to people. We were mean to folks at times.
Yeah.
There was stuff that, at the time we were joking, but looking back at it.
What are you thinking? I'm not thinking of anything horrible.
Well, maybe not horrible. I'm not saying
go
to jail,
the poem,
but the poem and there was just different stuff that we did that was not the nicest.
Yeah.
I hope my son's better than I am about that.
But he probably will.
As long as he's no worse, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's true. Because we weren't I don't remember even having. I know I didn't drink in high school.
I didn't drink in high school.
Didn't drink at all.
Nope.
I had no desire to. Yeah, I didn't. It's not like I knew some people that did, but I didn't think I don't know. It just wasn't something that I thought was cool.
Yeah, I didn't drink.
Made me cooler.
I was 22. I was
really.
I was 22 when I finally started.
I think I was right at 21 when I drank. But even then, I remember just getting a little.
When I first started, it was terrible. When I first tried.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste for sure. Alcohol is.
It was I was at a new college, had just broken up with a longtime girlfriend.
So it was time.
Trying to make friends.
Yeah.
These guys I worked with, I remember they were we're leaving work, and they were like, we're going to run to Blackwell.
Get a little beer.
Go to Blackwell and get to the liquor store and get something to drink. And I was like, can I go? and I just like forced myself into the little group, and
Really?
we were friends the rest of the school.
You choked it down, then.
But yeah, that's how I started drinking.
Yeah,
Was trying to hang out with
full-blown
them.
alcoholic by the end of it.
Yeah. By the end of that semester, I was.
Shooting in your veins. This is really good.
That's how I got in. That's how I started drinking.
Do you remember what you bought?
Don't use alcohol to make friends, but I'm just telling you, that's how I made those friends. Was trying to make.
Do you remember what it was?
What alcohol?
Was it Natural Light?
It was Natty Lights.
Was it really?
And because that was the cheapest.
Yeah.
And
which is awful. That's an awful first taste.
Half gallons of Jim Beam.
Really?
And
that sounds like a terrible combination.
We chased our Jim Beam with.
Ooh,
Natty
God.
Lights.
Were you not sick?
No.
You have an ironclad stomach.
Well,
though.
I had
now.
Then I did.
You don't know?
I had I was in good shape, I guess. I had good metabolism.
Yeah, that is another thing I noticed. Like when I was in college,
I can't do it anymore, man. If I drank like that now, I would probably die.
Yeah, you'd be done for a week.
Yeah,
you'd be terrible. Yeah, like I remember, like in college, like I wasn't even I casually drank, you know, but like you get a little drunk, maybe you get a little buzz or whatever, and then. Which happened rarely, but the times I did, like, I'd wake up just fresh the next day.
Yeah.
You
usually wake up early. I wake up like 4 o'clock.
Wake up
wide
solid.
open, sober.
Get you a little breakfast.
Yeah.
Get you a little juice, little water.
If I drink like 3 beers, I got a headache next morning.
Yeah, you're done. You don't want anybody to see you, talk to you. Yeah, it's weird how the body just deteriorates as you get older. It just like goes downhill. It's all downhill. But yeah, that seems like a terrible first. The first alcohol I drank that I remember, and I'm pretty sure it was Bud Light Lime, which is a good. Oh yeah, that's a good a good like entry point.
I remember the first alcohol I drank that I liked was like the Woodchuck, that hard cider.
Oh yeah, I still think that's probably one of my favorite drinks to casually just sip on.
But that was like the first alcohol I found that I actually liked the taste of.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like, I don't know if you've seen this, but you see like people like they call themselves like beer snobs, like they're connoisseurs of beer. Like I don't really get into that. I don't think get that's into cool.
I don't have a lot of beer, and people probably disagree. A lot of beer tastes a lot alike to me. I can't
taste T-Rash or taste the same as the other one.
My favorite beer to drink if I'm going to buy beer for myself is Busch. That's what I drink.
Really?
It's just plain. It's just beer. There's nothing else to it.
Just a little hops and a little alcohol. Yeah. I don't really know what my favorite beer is. I like Corona, but I hate the way it smells.
It smells like weed.
It smells like
to me.
It smells like weed.
Well, I guess
it smells like skunk.
Well, and then weed smells like skunk.
That's true. That's true. I've never seen weed though, so I don't have no clue what that smells like or looks like, and neither has Josh. That's true. This is what we're going off of. Based off what we've heard and what people around us has told us.
Pop culture.
That's what weed smells like. But I don't really know what that past experience.
I like Yingling. I've just recently started drinking it, and it's good.
That's not foreign, is it?
It's supposedly it's America's oldest brewery.
Is that like at do you know where that's from?
Somewhere in Northeast, I don't know.
Yeah. I had that. My buddy Steve, he likes Yingling.
But it's good.
And he had me try it, and it tastes nice. Yeah, I like it. I'm not a big dark beer fan, though.
I'm not either.
Just for, sipping on, I can't really get into that. I think, talking about Drew, I think he's into the dark beers.
Yeah, as far as I know, I haven't
seen
Drew in
I haven't either.
a while. I haven't talked to him in a long time. But
the last time I did,
he was drinking a Guinness. Last time I saw him.
The last time I think I saw him was at my dad's funeral.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's what
I think that was the last time I saw him.
Yep. He was not drinking a Guinness then.
Yeah.
Last time I saw
him. Speaking of my dad, I feel like I have a fear. This is sort of a weird segue, but I have a fear of not being there for my son.
Yeah.
Do you have that fear at all? Not really.
It's a fear. It's a fear. We've thought about it. Actually, me and Emily were talking about that just yesterday. What would happen how would we handle it if something happened to one of us? We were talking like stuff like that, and it is a fear for me with certain aspects of my job. I get very much
more dangerous than
very much afraid
job.
at some points. Not that afraid to where
but I
can't do my job, but
You have a gun, right?
I do have a gun and a
Right.
vest and all that stuff, but
Still,
still
you
it's
never know who you're going to run up on.
it's in the back of my mind anytime I'm talking to somebody or making a stop or something
Right.
like that. It's definitely there. And, you know.
I don't think people get that unless they're in your type of job. Like, some people look at it and they're like, oh, yeah. But, like, when you never know, like, you know, genuinely, you never know when you walk up on a vehicle. You don't know.
You have no idea who's in there.
No
idea who's in there.
Have you pulled people over and felt a little sketchy? Like
Yeah, there's been a couple of times. Now, my job, I'm not
well, let's classify what you do.
I'm not a state trooper like that. I work for state parks.
Right.
Park superintendent, park ranger.
Right.
So most of the time when I'm working with folks, it's people that are camping with us, and
which is either, to me, would be even more a little sketchy because they probably might have drank some, or they might.
Yeah. Now a lot of times if they're being rowdy and stuff, they are been drinking or something like that. But we also make stops on people that are in the park after we've closed.
Yeah.
The park's closed at 10 o'clock. When I make rounds at night, if somebody's in the park, I've got to talk to them and tell them,
get out.
You know, it's
Move
closed.
on.
You've got to leave.
Right.
And I have no idea when you're walking up on that vehicle who's in there and
what's going on,
what they've been doing, what they were doing just before they got there.
Sexual escapade or something.
I've not ever caught anybody doing that.
You
but it
did tell me
all the time.
something that you walked up on, didn't you? I could be dreaming this, but I'm pretty sure you told me that people go out in the woods and do naked or do some sort of chant with crystals.
Oh, yeah.
Or
There's
something.
a couple of parks that are considered. We just refer to them as crystal people. I don't know what their title is, but they believe in the healing powers of crystals, and they believe there's like
and methamphetamines.
A pyramid of a pyramid of power. In the state of Arkansas, and it's part of the corner is like Toltec mounds, and part of it is a different park, and certain times of the year like equinoxes and things like that.
But you've never walked up on one of these newest.
I haven't, but it's been like where they've like been naked, got up on the mounds, Toltec mound, because they're trying to repower their crystal for the year.
Sounds logical. Sounds like something.
Yeah, and so that's something that some parks have to deal with. I've not had to do that myself, but it's stories.
What do you think you would do?
When everybody gets together, it's definitely stories.
Would you strip down and go,
like, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong.
Just leave your weapon on. Just leave your gun on.
Yeah, just
the satchel. I just want to make sure you guys are safe out here, but we're going to strip down.
Yeah.
Give me that blue crystal there, boy.
It's definitely a weird one. I'm glad I haven't had to mess with that.
Yeah, that seems like, because they're not like. I mean, maybe they got regular jobs. I highly doubt it.
Yeah,
I don't think they're like
work
at a bank and you see them. Cash this check for me, sir.
Yeah,
you see them.
You look familiar.
I didn't
recognize you with your clothes on.
Yeah, you look good in that suit, man.
Really, yeah, there's lots of. Who knows? Maybe after I put in my time in the state parks, I'll write a book about all the crazy stuff.
That'd be cool. I thought about writing a book about all the experiences I've had. Yeah. Just, doing retail and, working here at the tuxedo shop, because I've had some crazy folks, dude.
We get some funny stuff. We get like, to me, it blows. Now, I try to remember that, I grew up with outdoorsy.
Yeah, you always like the outdoors.
Family.
Right.
I've been outside, and I know from a little young age I've known what a bass was, and I've known what a brim was.
Right.
I know, the different. And I remember my first job in parks, working the park I was at had a big aquarium.
Right.
Had bluegill and stuff like that in there, and I remember people coming in and. The little kid be like, "Mom, are those piranhas?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think they are." I was like, "No, they're not. This represents this river out here. There are no piranhas in this river."
Yeah, those are actually meat-eating, flesh-eating piranhas.
Common. That's the Arkansas piranha.
I remember when I was younger, growing up, swimming in my pool, and this is totally off topic, but swimming in my pool, thinking a shark was.
Could get
me.
Could get there.
In
some parts of the country, you can get alligators show up in people's pools.
That's true.
Probably not sharks, but alligators definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a great white's gonna be in our 9-foot pool. But yeah. I'm trying to think if there's.
Getting back to like the fear of, our dads have set the bar pretty high.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
it's definitely something that, I think about pretty regular, how I'm going to live up to that, because I want to be just as good. I want to be better. Not that they were bad. I just want to be better, and I want my kid to be even better than that. And
right. So. I have a little bit of providing. Like I know that I have to be the provider. Like, like we were talking about earlier. Like you totally have to raise a little human, and they're totally dependent on you. And I have this sort of, my business is good, but I mean, who knows 5 years from now what's going to happen? And like, I just have that, I don't know. I just have that fear of like,
it's a legitimate concern.
Being able to
it's
provide.
It's good that you're worried about it. That'll keep you fighting and moving forward with
But that's why, we were talking about earlier a little bit about how some kids, their parents just one after another, they're just, churning them out, and I don't get that. I had fear enough having one. I can't imagine having, 4 and 5, and just being cool with, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And I get that it takes all kinds, and then people have different expectations for their life and how they're going to do things, and it's just not how I want to do stuff.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that reverts back to, I feel like it's a cycle. Like, we had good, your parents had good parents, and my mom had good parents. My dad didn't really have good parents. I feel like it goes one of two ways. Like, if you have good parents, you're going to be 9 times out of 10, I feel like you're going to be a good parent if you're raised right, whatever. But if you grow up in that bad environment where your parents are into drugs or whatever they're into, either you're going to be just like them or you're going to want to like be completely opposite.
Right, try to break that cycle and get out of there.
But I do feel like it's sort of a cycle. Like, you see some families, like, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but people that we grew up with, you kind of just you would think of them now and think, I wonder what their kids are like,
how they're doing,
or how they're doing,
how they're
if they're the same way, or because they might not have had the opportunities that we had, or whatever. And I just wonder how, I don't know. It's just something I thought about before. But I do feel like it's a vicious cycle. Like people
definitely
get into.
Can be. I was fortunate enough not to had good parents. Both my parents had good parents. I grew up with lots of grandparents, and when I was born, I had 9 living grandmothers. And
had what?
9 living grandmothers.
Oh, jeez.
None of those were step grandmothers or like that. Those were all. That's just I had
legitimate.
I had both grandmothers. Had like 3 great grandmothers still alive. 4 great grandmothers still alive.
That's crazy.
So
yeah, you always had a huge family. I remember that.
And so we had, but not everybody's that fortunate. And you always hope that they can do better than they have the want and drive to change the cycle and get better than they had. But that doesn't always happen.
No, I remember my dad's family. He had grew up in foster care for a little while because both of his parents were alcoholics. And I remember him telling me a story one time that he had got left at school when he was like, I don't know, kindergarten, maybe he's like 5 years old, and he lived in West Memphis at the time. And he told me that he had to walk home, like, because his parents forgot to pick him up from school.
Yeah.
And I saw how my dad treated me, which was more than I could ever ask for. And, like, I think it was overly sometimes because he just didn't want me to have that, what he grew up in.
Right.
And I can just see it going the other way too, if he would have chose another path or something would have. You never know, like, what leads you down. Like, just one mistake or one thing, one decision can like totally send you on a completely, different path. And I'm super grateful looking back that I had the family that I had. Like, it's just like, you know, I don't think people realize, or I know I did. Like, I knew I had a good family growing up, but like looking back, like I couldn't have asked, and I know you probably couldn't have either. Couldn't have asked for like a better environment to grow up in, you know. And I don't know. I want to make sure I want to try to make sure my kids have that same, you know, feeling or opportunity.
They may not recognize it until they're 25, 30 years old.
Did you sort of look back now and think, man, I can't believe, like, you know, I really had it good, you know?
I mean, there was, overall, we had it great. There was times, you know.
There's always times.
Times that were worse, that were harder or worse than others, but they were far and few between. And overall, I had an excellent upbringing, and definitely it's one of my goals as a parent is to provide that same excellent
care,
environment,
nurturing
for
care,
my kids.
Environment. Is there anything that I think I might have asked this last time to somebody, but is there anything you look back on that you wish you could change? Like something you did in high school or something you did maybe throughout your life that you think, man, I wish I could get that one back?
Well, there's stuff. It's like I have those.
You don't have to name anything specific, but just thinking like, man, I kind of wish I would have done this a little bit.
Well, you know, it's talking about the decisions we make bringing you to where you are. It's one of those things. If I could go back and change something and not change where I'm at right now, yeah. But if it's going to change where I'm at now,
you might
then
not
I'm
want
going
to
to
do
exactly like it.
That's
like it
true.
is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
yeah, because you never know what that little decision that you think might be good.
Yeah, might have set you off on a totally different path.
And
you may be in a better position now, but you don't know that.
But you don't. But you know, like where you're at now, and you like it. So
this is
you
good.
wouldn't.
Why would I go back and risk?
That makes sense.
Changing it. But if you could be like, go back and do this, but this is going to stay exactly the same. Well, then there's all kinds of stuff I do.
Whatever.
Differently.
Yep. I'd jump off of. I'd jump off a building.
Because nothing's going to change. So. It's definitely. I don't know. That's still, you know. Are you glad that me and Emily were married 5 years before we had Marshall? And y'all were married for almost 5?
Yeah. Am I glad I waited?
Not at 5. Are you glad you waited those years before starting having kids?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, looking back, I'm glad that I got to tell my dad that I was having someone, you know, because for those of you who might not know, my dad passed away in 2016. Well, we got pregnant in 2016, so he got to know what the gender was going to be. I got to tell him, you know, that we were naming his middle name after him, and I mean, I'm obviously looking back, you know, maybe if I'd have had it a year earlier, but then, you know, knowing that my dad would have saw him a little bit, and then.
Yeah,
and then him passing away, I don't think I would have liked that. So knowing that it never, I don't know. I feel like I would have been more upset, more sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, him seeing him and then having to go. But I mean, I'm glad we waited, or you know, had
those years
when
of
it was
just
supposed
you.
to happen. I feel like everything happens.
It happens when it's supposed to happen.
Happens when it's supposed to happen.
I'm just
as cliche as that sounds. I mean.
I was just talking like, you know, are you glad you had those years of just you and
just
you and your wife?
Yeah, I feel like some people miss out on that, and some people, you know, I never get why some people marry just because they're having a kid. That makes no sense to me.
Makes no sense.
Because to me, like if you're pregnant and then you think, oh, we got to get married or whatever, that's, you know, people think, oh, or if people think, you know, well, if we have a kid together, then that's just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's just going to add to it.
It's just going to add, yeah.
If you have a bad relationship to begin with,
the child's not going to necessarily fix that.
No. It's going to, you know, it's going to make it worse.
I mean, it sounds, if you say, oh, it'll
bring us together.
It'll give us something to work with together.
Yeah,
and
right. It's just going to split you more apart.
Make us a full family, but it adds so much stress and stuff like that.
If you don't have your, you know, you're never going to have your ducks in a row. Like when
it's
people,
never gonna be perfect.
like when people say, when people say, you know, I just don't think I'm ready. I feel like you could always say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get, like, financially, if you think, man, we probably need to wait. But, like, some people that, you know, that everything seems to be pretty kosher and they whatever, I don't understand when people say, well, we're just not ready. Well, I don't think I was really. When are you ever ready to raise a little miniature human? Like,
there's some people that are, it's always different for some folks. Some folks have been thinking about parenthood since they were teenagers, and they're psyched, they're ready to do this.
Right.
Other folks are.
I don't think you ever really know until you have one what it's like.
Definitely. I know.
Like you think it's going to be one way, and then it's like you wake up and you're like, oh dear God,
And I never pictured even getting married and having a family when I was in high school. I just didn't think that would be something I would do. But
Ray Charles with him.
Marshall starts yelling in the middle of the night, and it's my turn to get up and go change him. So I went in there and didn't grab my glasses when I went in there. So I left our bedroom, walked into his room, got him out of the crib, and got him up on the table. And the table sits up kind of high. And I had the pulled the diaper off, and I started wiping, and I realized I can't see very well because it's dark. It's not completely bright.
It's dark, and
I don't have my glasses on.
Cannot
and
visually see.
I want to make sure I got all the mess off of him.
Yeah.
So I get down. I got his legs held up, and I'm getting close. And I'm down there looking, then right when I realize what I'm doing, I'm like right inches from his
Peter
from his butthole, trying to make sure everything's cleaned up, and I'm just right there. I mean, my eyelashes nearly tickling his cheek, and right when I realized, man, I'm really close to his ass, it happened.
He farted.
You know the little machine when you go to the doctor, blows air in your eyeball.
Oh no!
It was like a just right. I was just like, oh God, I'm gonna have to throw this eyeball away.
So you,
dang, it was just right there,
straight pink eye,
and so
that's instant pink eye.
I like stood up, and I was like, how did I do that? Why was I so close to
his butthole?
I didn't want to send him back to bed with craps on his rear end.
That's true. Yeah, but like I don't have to get my nose right in his butt.
From then on, I always grabbed my glasses when I went to change them so I could see.
Nash is realizing that he can fart now. That it's funny. I don't know if Marshall, if he
farts, he usually like looks at you and says,
like, "Let's say,"
says "shoo."
Shoe?
Yeah, like shoe.
Oh, I thought you meant like a shoe.
No,
like,
not like a shoe. It's like
teaching him kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like means a shoe. I've never heard of that. No, like I'll Nash will fart and cover his mouth like. Like, I just farted. And I'll say, did you fart? And he'll just cover his mouth like, but like he'll, like I guess I'm the one who gives him a bath. Like I don't know if you have a routine, but we have a routine.
I'm not the one that gives Marshall a bath. Emily usually gives him a bath.
Yeah, like I'll come home from work and then we'll play a little bit or whatever. And then just the other day, Mason was going to give him a bath and he was like, no, it's not happening. And like I'll give him a bath and like we'll cut up and whatever. And the other day, he always say like he loves to get right next to the faucet, where the water's coming out, and he has a cup and he'll fill up the cup and drink it or
yeah, that's a new thing. He's realized he can drink that bath water. And
yeah. And the other day,
I was like, no, gross. We'll say shoe, and he'll be like, shoe.
Chewy. But Nash, we're getting about to where we want to start potty training.
Yeah, we're really close too.
And Nash, he realized that, he was peeing the other day, and he looked down at it, and he looked at me like, you checking this out? Yeah, this is pretty cool. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And he was like, he started smiling like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I figured it out.
And then he kept, the reason we want to start potty training him is because now, like when he does, poop in his diaper, he'll say, poo-poo. Like, yeah, he knows, like, he's like, but yeah.
I told Marshall when we found out that we were going to have another one, I told him he had 9 months to get in a toddler bed and get potty trained because I was only going to change one baby diaper at a time. Yeah. So he's got until the next one comes to get potty trained.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, but that is true. Like I don't get like at our church, there was this one kid who was like 3, and he was still just shatting all over himself. Like, we got to figure it out by then. Like, I'm not changing human poop. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
when it becomes man, it's not man
yeah.
poop. I'm not.
Yeah, if he's pooping out big old turds, like, you know, I can't. It'd be like me doing it and be like, Mason, get in here.
I definitely want him potty trained before he turns 3, for sure. But
yeah.
I figure, you know, it's one of those things. I hear you can do it in a weekend. You just got to get.
Yeah, my buddy said he put stuff in the toilet and had him shoot it.
Yeah.
Or
he knows. He can tell Marshall I got to go to the potty. And he'll take you to the bathroom and he'll show you where it's at, and he can flush it.
Yeah. Nash has been there when I've been peeing, and he thinks it's just like.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is this is amazing. I don't know
what
he's doing.
There's been times, you know, I'm sitting up there, got legs spread peeing, and Marshall coming behind me and, like, step between my legs.
You're like, whoa.
Like, whoa, easy,
son. Chill out.
You're going to make mess.
Nash was real young when he walked in there one time when I was peeing, and he tried to, like, he was like, whoa. He tried to, like, put his hand in. I was like, hey.
Like, get back. Trying to turn your body. And get between you.
Yeah. It's like. That's not like bathwater.
Yeah.
That's it.
Not lemonade.
Nash hasn't pooped in the toilet, though. I don't know if you've had. Well, he did when he.
Not pooped in the toilet, no.
I meant.
The tub?
Tub.
Oh, Marshall has pooped in the tub once.
Well, I was gonna say Nash did once, and it was because he was sick. Like
that's why he was pretty sick, couldn't really control it.
Yeah, he didn't just go, all up in there, So.
And that's gross. And you got to bleach the.
I remember one time when I was little, I peed in the bath, and I was just old enough to realize that you're not supposed to really pee in the bath.
Yeah, not in the bath.
Not in
you pee in the shower, not in the bath.
Yeah, pee in the shower, not in the bath. And I remember telling my mom when she came out, I was like, "Hey, I peed in here." I wasn't diplomatic.
Hey, Mom.
I didn't say, "Hey, Mom,
I
took a little piss up in here," But I said, "Mom, hey, Mom, I peed in here." And she was like, "Well, what?" I was like, "Well, I let some of it out, so we're good." Like I let
the pee out. I opened the pee left.
I did though. Like that was in my mind. I was like, I just let some of it out.
Water's still here. You just got the pee out.
I got and the pee went out. Seriously though, in my mind at that time, I don't know how 4, maybe 5. I was like, this makes sense.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's man, we've been going for a minute.
We've been rambling. We're good at rambling
for an hour. Did you have any closing thoughts? Any takeaways from parenthood or being?
It's just been so far
been a wild ride.
It's been a wild ride, but it's been my favorite stage of life so far.
Really?
Yeah,
I think mine too.
You go through different stages.
It's hard to say, like
chapters. And,
yeah.
Marriage was. When I got married, that was my favorite one, and then I didn't think anything topped that. But raising a kid so far,
different animal.
So far has been awesome.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I would say.
And that's a big part. That's because I have an excellent wife. So.
Yeah, throw that plug in there. Me too.
She makes it a lot easier than it would be.
Excellent wife as well. That's true. Yeah, I
couldn't imagine just the days that watch Marshall by myself. It's just a day. I'm
tough.
Just like,
it's
how do single
day, dude? I don't have a clue, bro.
The single parents are.
Y'all
are rock stars.
I have a newfound appreciation for people that raise kids on their own. That's insane.
Yeah, one day, and I'm just like, please, somebody come help. I need somebody else here.
And then you realize what Emily does and what my wife does. It's like some they go above and beyond, and then some parents, they just don't do nothing.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah, it really makes you appreciate. Like, it's a full-time job in itself.
Yeah.
And when I come home and then I've hung out with Nash for an hour, I'm like wore out, and she's been doing it all day
long. Yeah.
I'm like, good.
That's what Emily took that.
She
first
thinks
year
I don't
off
appreciate her, but I do. I don't say I do.
Emily took that first year off with Marshall, and his first year. The first years, they're super needy. That first year.
Oh yeah.
And. I would watch, and so I didn't watch him a whole lot by myself then, not until she went back to work. And then I was watching 2 days a week by myself. And I'm just like, you've been doing this for a year?
Yeah.
Every day by yourself? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I can't. yeah, there's just something about motherhood and that whole. Yeah, it's tough. I think men were meant to definitely be out in the field killing animals and stuff. I can't. I don't know. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Anytime, I don't know how many of these I'll do. As many people wants to be on it, that wants to be on it. So
it was good. I was super nervous at the beginning.
Yeah, once you get going,
once
you get going, it's nothing to it.
I hope I wasn't mumbling too much. I have a tendency to mumble, so hopefully you.
Yeah, well, I have
everything.
sort of a soft voice too. It's not like a good soft,
like
voice.
A bedroom voice,
like a bedroom, like a Conway Twitty. Where's that Conway Twitty?
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. That's a good one to end on. All right, we're out.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it.